Konnichiwa, Genki desu ka? Welcome to another episode of Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha. I'm your Mega Otaku Gamer. I am Ken-chan. And today we're going to take a look at a company that is famous for Cabbage Patch Kids, portable devices like this one, and leather chaps. Leather chaps. What's that got to do with video games? I don't know, but it was a leather company. The Connecticut Leather Company. That's who we're talking about, and we're going to look at their machine today. And what was that machine? The Colecovision. Now, before we talk about the Colecovision, let's take a look at Coleco, the company. Who was Coleco? Well, they were founded in 1932 by Maurice Greenberg, and they were known as the Connecticut Leather Company. Connecticut Leather Company, or Coleco. It became a highly successful toy company in the 1980s, known for its mass-produced versions of Cabbage Patch Kids dolls, and its video game consoles, the Coleco Telstar and Colecovision, and as well as the little handheld tabletop devices that they made. The company was headquartered in Manalapan, New Jersey. I'm not from New Jersey, people, so you'll have to, excuse me, my mispronunciation. Anyhow, the ColecoVision, of course, was manufactured by Coleco. It was a video game console. It was second generation video game console in there with the Atari 2600 and all of those. Its retail availability was August of 1982 in the U.S. and in the European Union in 1982. It was discontinued in 1984. Didn't run that long. It was a Johnny-come-lately type thing that had adequate power, but didn't matter at that point. The media it used, it was a ROM cartridge. The CPU was a Zilog Z80. You can Google that and find out the specs to that. The storage capacity was 8, 16, 24, 32 kilobyte. It was, in other words, upgradable. The graphics was a TMS 9928A. The controller input was joysticks with numeric keypads. They had a roller controller, driving controller, super action controller. Wow. The best-selling game was Donkey Kong, which was the pack-in, which is why it was the best-selling game. And the predecessor was the Telstar Arcade from 1978. And it offered, they claimed that they offered near arcade quality graphics, which is, in my opinion, not even remotely true. I'm going to say this little bit about the battle between Coleco and Atari. Coleco went head-to-head with the Atari 5200. Now, there are going to be people that think that in the battle between Coleco and Atari, that Coleco was the hands-down winner. The ColecoVision versus the Atari 5200, the ColecoVision was more powerful. Nothing could be further from the truth. And in the future, I'm planning, at least at this point, on doing an episode where I compare the two machines and show you why the 5200 is superior to the ColecoVision. Not just tell you, show you. Okay? And you will be able to see the difference. And there will be no debate at that point that the ColecoVision, compared to an Atari 5200, is certainly the inferior machine. But let's go ahead and take a look at this thing, shall we? Okay, and here we have the ColecoVision itself. This is the way it came stock. Okay, you have your cartridge port here. Okay, you have on-off switch here, reset button here. Okay. You have an expansion module interface. On the back, turn this around, very sparse. You got power here. You have your TV here. This is an RF thing, and here's your switch that tells you channel whatever, 3 or 4 or whatever, 2 or 3 or 3 or 4. I think it was 3 or 4. Here you have the controllers, and these are 1 and 2. Similar in design to the Intellivision. They also went for a numeric keypad, and these keypads, if you see or notice right here, there's a slot here. that you can slide. They came. Some of these cartridges came with overlays, so that these buttons, these numbered buttons, actually meant something. They would lay over top of these buttons, and you push the button. I don't have, or at least I can't find any of mine. I don't know where they are exactly. Any of my overlays. I thought I had some. I'm not able to find them right now. And then of course here's the directional stick. And there's a button here. Button here. And those are the stock controllers that come with this. Now, I don't really like these stock controllers. Let me show you how I like my ColecoVision to be. Yes, that's right. That's how I like my ColecoVision cooled up. Let's take a look at these things here. These are the Super Action Controllers. Look at that. That's crazy. And, depending on the grip, this grip actually comes off. Let me pull that off here and show you. Okay, the grip is now pulled off. This is an extended grip for people with thicker hands. And it snaps on like so. And then you got, a thicker grip. You got a thumb slot for your thumb here. You have the button array that you have on the old one, the stock controller. And this also takes overlays, but these overlays, of course, are considerably smaller. You have a nice, hardy, somewhat closer to an actual joystick that you would find in an arcade on there. And then you have these buttons here. And I guess this protects your fingers from, I don't know. But you have, it's quite cool. And then there's this. It's the roller controller. I guess that's for, paddle-like games, if they, whatever they might have had for that. I'm not sure exactly what games that's actually used for. But this controller is they make fun of this controller these days on the internet because it is, I'll be the first to admit this is kind of ridiculous. I mean, wow. You would think, this looks almost like some kind of like fencing sword or something like that. You pull this out of your sheath, but then all there is this little stick on the end of it, and it's kind of like disappointing that way. But as far as playing the games, it actually feels quite good. And there's different ways you can grip this thing, and different ways you can use these buttons down here. You don't necessarily have to hold it like this. Sometimes I hold it closer to something like this and trigger the button with one of these fingers here or this finger here. But this is generally, for the most part, this is quite good. Ridiculous design or not, it handles well, and I like it. And so this is the way I have my ColecoVision cooled up. Of course, I will say that the ColecoVision and these controllers I managed to get at the Game Gallery in Easton. I got them on two separate visits. I got the ColecoVision first, and then upon, I went back there and I saw these, and I'm like, oh, these look way better than, that thing that that comes with it. And I tried it out, and lo and behold, yeah, it is. It's a lot better. These are a lot easier to use. So that's the ColecoVision. These are the Super Action Controllers, which is the way I like to have my ColecoVision dolled up. Now let's take a look at some of the games. Now, of course, the games themselves come in these cartridges, okay, which sock into the cartridge slot that I showed you. And on the back here, they have this little dugout spot, and what goes in there is the overlays. Like I said, I can't find any of my overlays. I don't know where. This is Super Action Baseball. This is meant to go with the Super Action controller. Every ColecoVision, of course, came with Honk Donkerson here packed in with it, of course. And one of these days, as I said, I'm going to do a comparison between the 5200 and the ColecoVision so you can see, you look at the versions of Donkey Kong. The best way to tell the difference, look at the versions of Donkey Kong on this and then the one on the 5200. You will see that the one on the 5200 is superior to this one. in many ways. And of course, here's War Games. This is also for the Atom, which was a computer expansion for the ColecoVision. You could turn your ColecoVision into a full-blown computer with a cassette drive and a daisy wheel printer, baby. Yeah! Now, and the Atom was also a standalone. You could pay, I forget what it was, $700, whatever, and get yourself a standalone Atom that, accommodated these games as well, and also had the cassette drive and the awesome daisy wheel printer. Wow! Cassette drive. But, yeah. Then there was, here's a little Zaxxon. And, of course, a whole, plethora of, an array of different, games that they had for the system at the time. And we're going to take a look at some of these. Let's look at, the way these come out on the old screen, shall we? Alrighty, here we go. Donkey Kong. Let's just blast a bunch of these, see what happens here. Fart face. Hey, here we go with some Zaxxon. Oh, yeah. You see or notice, this is not near arcade quality. That's nonsense. And it's Buck Rogers and the Planet of Zoom. Look at them fried eggs. Look like fried eggs with purple yolks. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking exactly. You better not be thinking that. If you want my honest opinion, I like the 2600 version of this better, even though the graphics aren't as good as this. I think this ends up being a little bit too over busy. Ooh. This is ambitious, certainly for this time period, but I really just don't think it's nearly as fun as the Atari version. The Atari version has the more funky sounds, too. The sounds on this are not so great. Oh, look, mountains. And these green things that flicker. Here we are with one of my favorites from this era, Omega Race. And while this version is okay, I have to hand it to, I have to really give it to the Commodore. Whoops. The Commodore 64 has the version of Omega Race. This has too much color in it. Ooh. I had this set up for fast bounce, which I shouldn't have done, but... Ooh, that's why. Note to self, never set it up for fast bounce again. You hit the wall and it's like, it throws you all over the place. I guess you could use it to your advantage, but... Long live Gorf! Yeah, right. Oh, come on. Ooh, what a shot. Oh boy, I'm a space captain. And of course we have to smurf. Can't even touch. These Smurfs die in high grass, or if they get pricked by a rock, they die. Because they're weak. I don't know why the hell that stinky old wizard guy wanted these things. If I had him in my house, I would simply call an exterminator. And that would be the end of that crap. I don't know what the hell you're supposed to do here exactly. You can't even touch that thing. But there's the Smurfette, and its skull is blocking my way! At the end of the day, the Colecovision was too little too late. And again, as I said before, as far as the way it stacked up against the Atari 5200, it didn't have a prayer. The 5200 was technically superior. I do believe, though, that the ColecoVision probably did better sales-wise than the 5200. I'll look into that. I don't know if that's true. You can Google that and find that out. You know, a leather company making these strange-looking dolls, and while they did well with the handheld thing, you know, it was, at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. The ColecoVision was released too late. 2 years later, you saw, you know, the NES came out and laid waste to everything that was out there previously. You know, ColecoVision, even the Atari 7800 couldn't begin to compete with the NES. But by then, the American industry had been dragged down the toilet by Atari. My recommendation, though, however, is that if you can find one of these, even if you're not a hardcore collector, pick it up. They have a lot of problems with... there's a malfunction that happens with a lot of them where they start showing these horizontal lines that run through everything, and that's a sign that the thing's starting to die. So if you can, test the thing first. I would steer away from ordering them, finding one on eBay or something like that and ordering it. I just don't see, that just doesn't seem like a very good idea. For anyone who's even a casual collector, there's tons of games for it. The games all look pretty good. They look better than the Atari 2600 anyway, which, in my opinion, was really what it was put out there to compete with, not the 5200. But that's just my opinion. And so there you have it. It's a machine designed by a leather company, the Connecticut Leather Company. It's the ColecoVision.